Obi Wan Kenobi. We finally got the final episode in the Obi Wan 6-episode series that has been promised to us forever, that it would give us the final duel that would match or rival the duel between Anakin and Obi-Wan in Episode 3. Did it live up to the hype? Could it ever even match the potential that idea has to offer before we then witness what happens to them in A New Hope? But before we get into that, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments, because I think one of the best things about watching a series like this is discussing everyone's thoughts, theories on the series as a whole, and especially the fight with Darth Vader and Obi-Wan. So before we get into that, comment down below your thoughts. I want to read them. I want to hear them. And how does it compare to ours? We're going to get right into it. What did you think, going right into it,
hello there,
about the fight with Darth Vader and Obi-Wan?
I thought the fight with Darth Vader and Obi-Wan was pretty cool. I definitely had some expectations built up in my mind. So to see an upbeat, more lively reaction, high energy duel was really pleasing. I definitely wish it was a little longer, but I thought it was really solid. It was fun. It was cool. Obi-Wan was definitely OP. And
sure.
It was a fun thing to watch.
Yeah, bouncing right off that topic, I was talking to a lot of people afterwards about this episode, and people were like, man, could Obi-Wan defeat Luke? What is the maximum potential of Obi-Wan's power here? He's experiencing some, like, Super Saiyan Goku levels of power. My man's, like, parting the Red Sea, shooting some rocks at Vader. It was crazy. But Obi-Wan's fight, I think, so the way that they presented this, it was either going to go one or two ways. It was either going to go, okay, that was a fight, or it was going to be amazing. I really think there was moments that I think they could have changed and make better, but for what it was and what they were able to give us, I really did enjoy this final fight. I didn't enjoy the series as a whole. We'll get into that afterwards, but this fight, in my eyes, it delivered on what I wanted. It gave us some excellent dialogue moments. There was the dialogue exchange between Vader/Anakin and Obi-Wan, I think, was some of the best new written dialogue that I have enjoyed in most recent Star Wars projects, especially projects given to us from Disney. The prequels were never known for their brilliant writing, and nothing here is crazy, but there was a lot of moments I think really build on kind of the story of the entire franchise. Like, key moments, like Anakin telling Obi-Wan, moment that I loved, where he goes, "You didn't kill Anakin, I did. And I'm not your failure, Obi-Wan. I killed Anakin. I am Vader now. I'm no longer Anakin." And Obi-Wan accepting that and being like, okay, he goes from calling him Anakin to when he leaves the fight, he goes, okay, Darth, I'm done. Deuces. So the way that they kind of tell that story, how it kind of very changes between what we see in Episode 3 to then where we kind of pick up and find them in A New Hope, I think it kind of lays that foundation down really well. What did you think of the fight choreography and / the dialogue exchange between the two?
Like I said, I just wish it was a little more. I wish we got to see a little bit more with the fighting and the dialogue and interaction at the end, and maybe even a better glimpse of Anakin. But just the tease with the cracked helmet, it was cool to see him and hear the voice go from Anakin to Vader, the robotic sound effects of his voice. It was like chilling to watch. I think the scene in the environment, it was cool, but I just wish the lighting was a bit different, because the lighting when it was reflecting the blue and the red off of his face when he was talking with Obi-Wan was really cool, but like the overall, like the gray tone of the planet that they were on, I just wish it was a little bit more. I wish some of the shots showcased their duel and their conversations a little bit better. Yeah. But it was cool. It was interesting. I like the beginning. The middle part of the fight was pretty good, and then the ending wrapped up pretty solid. Vader, I feel like could have been a little bit more of a commanding presence. I feel like he held back a little bit, but maybe it was his emotions coming through in different ways. But yeah, like Obi-Wan getting teared up and knowing that his friend is truly lost and truly gone. I mean, he already basically knew that, but I mean, seeing him again after being 10 years, maybe he had a spark of hope or something that he could get through to him.
A chance that he could.
Yeah, it was emotional. It was cool, and I just honestly just wanted to see more.
Yes.
I loved the ability to get to see them on the screen. It's something that I didn't realistically think that we would get since the last movie of Revenge of the Sith. Such a 20-year almost time jump from the time that they filmed that to now. It's a pretty long time. So the fact that they delivered and gave us something, it was special, and I enjoyed what we were able to see.
Yeah, I think it's been a little over or a little under 15 years since Revenge of the Sith. And I think personally this is some of the best performances of this fight particularly the best performance that we've gotten out of Ewan McGregor and out of Hayden Christensen. I think that the chemistry that they kind of built with this pain of both of the characters, the pain that they're suffering through, and also just the hatred that's built up in Darth Vader, and the sadness and kind of like sorrow, but then realization that's built up in the Obi-Wan character, really fleshed well. And I think that, like you mentioned earlier, the practical effects to me looked really cool. I liked seeing Vader's cracked helmet, and the fact that we finally actually got that in live action is pretty cool. But I think also one thing I wanted to mention real quickly is the use of the Force powers again with Darth Vader. In this episode was pretty cool, the way he blocks the lightsabers and all that, and he's throwing the rocks at Obi-Wan. The use of Force powers was pretty cool. There's a lot more different Force powers at them, so I'm surprised they didn't really use in this episode in between their fight. But I think for what it was cool the way it was choreographed, and it was entertaining and overall satisfying. That was kind of praising this fight. Now I want to get into a quick small review of the series as a whole. We covered the first 3 episodes previously, so if you haven't, go check that out. We have episodes 4, 5, and 6, talking about the good, things that we liked, the bad, things that we really didn't care for as much, and then the things that we thought were really bad, or our biggest, harshest critiques of the series. So, what were some of the elements that you actually really enjoyed about the series in the last 3 episodes?
I liked the dynamic that they had between Leia and Obi-Wan a lot. I feel like that was like one of the main points of the series. That continued to grow. It was, out of a 6-episode series, there being 2 rescue episodes with Obi-Wan and Leia going after to rescue her from the Empire. It was a little bit, not necessarily repeating the same thing, but like I was hoping they added some extra things, which they did. There was little Easter eggs and stuff here and there, like the vault that he discovered with all the frozen Jedi. I thought that was cool. The interaction with the stormtroopers and him going through, becoming better with his fighting after he got dragged through the fire. He's slowly getting he's Mojo back into his groove, and he's basically like wheeling. When the lights went off and the saber came on in that 4th episode, it was really cool when he saved Leia and then they escaped. Again, we'll get into it. There's some cheesy parts to the episode too here and there, but it just went by very fast. All the episodes I feel like were going by pretty fast, so for that one episode it was enjoyable, and there was a little bit of downtime here and there, but like I enjoyed the aspect of Obi-Wan going into this Imperial base and basically trying to avoid and rescue Leia. It was cool and fun to watch.
Touching upon that, I liked, like you're mentioning, a continuing positive theme in this series definitely is that relationship between Leia and Obi-Wan. I'm not going to talk much about it because I mentioned that a lot in the last episode, but I will mention again that they are continuing building that up. The way that they did this rescuing thing, it was kind of cool just seeing Obi-Wan kind of traveling through this Imperial base like you mentioned. It was a cool concept seeing him infiltrate something that we've also seen in a previous game I played through Jedi Fallen Order. So I think that it was cool revisiting the location of the Inquisitors like tower. I'm not sure what the name of it is, but it's like the Inquisitors base. It was cool revisiting that and kind of seeing different parts that emulated and reminded me of the parts from Jedi Fallen Order, like the scene when Obi-Wan is holding back the glass. It is cool. I think that led for a cool moment of him kind of flooding, using the waters to take out all the stormtroopers at once. So moments like that were pretty interesting. Like you mentioned, the Jedi, all the Jedi frozen. Definitely, there's a lot of little nuggets in this show that are intriguing elements that I would like to learn more about, or kind of left me wondering and questioning, which it's always fun to see in the series. Elements that kind of keep you questioning. Elements like that are cool. And to kind of skip ahead to the next episode, it showed us Obi-Wan trying to figure out what was going on with Reva. He's slowly learning about how she was a Padawan. She learns that she was basically, we learn that Anakin, she was one of the younglings that it was confirmed from the very first shot in the show of the Order 66 flashback. We see that she was one of the younglings. She gets stabbed. Her entire friend group gets slaughtered. And that forever sticks with her and gives her this plot of revenge and wanting to kill Anakin Skywalker. That was cool. That was an element that I really liked about the Reva character. I think that her whole package as a character, I still am not down with. I still really don't like her that much, but there's definitely ideas that they created with the character. Very intriguing, and I think if you would have did it differently, I could have enjoyed it more. But that element was really cool. What did you think of that?
So yeah, her character, they're trying to build it up a little by little, showing her motivation. You end up finding out that she actually wants to go after Vader. That's why she wants Obi-Wan, for basically not Vader's approval, not for anything else, but just to get in a specific spot, and I guess in a vulnerable space for Vader for her to basically kill him.
Yeah.
I don't know what she was really thinking when this plan's going along, because I mean, he's Vader. He senses disturbances in the Force and stuff like that.
Not a great plan.
Seeing the episode, but that was interesting. It was like a little bit of a twist, not really, but so she wants to kind of bring justice, but she's going around still killing all these people, and like she's still basically a bad guy. But
one really good thing I think we should touch upon is the in this episode it introduced our very first flashback. You want to talk about that?
That flashback was really cool. The opening scene, I think that I would love to have seen multiple types of those flashbacks throughout this whole show. It would have made it 10 times, 20 times better. They could have did so much with adding to that prequel era with the Clone Wars, and it just would have been so like fan service epicness that just would have made it a bunch better. And I'm grateful to see this new extended scene, and you got to see like the parallels with him fighting Vader later on and the implications of the lesson that Obi-Wan taught Anakin. It was cool to see them both in their getup, how they were dressed up back in the movie.
It was cool.
I just think that they could have de-aged Hayden Christensen a little bit better. I always find it funny that people off the internet,
people on YouTube can
do a better job,
just little changes here and there,
making him like the wrinkles around his mouth or just little simple things like that. Yeah. He looked older than he did in Revenge of the Sith in that flashback, so I don't really get that. But I mean, it was cool. The lightsaber combat, it's that what Star Wars should be. I wouldn't necessarily say we've gotten like, wow, this is so freaking epic, this is Revenge of the Sith quality. We've gotten pretty close to that, and it's the closest it's been since the prequel era. In my opinion, all the other previous lightsaber combat has been pretty weak, so it was refreshing and awesome to see that combat. Even right off in the beginning from that first episode with the flashback with Order 66. But like I said, that flashback was so cool. I wish they could do a whole show with Ahsoka, Anakin, and Obi-Wan with the capabilities that they have to de-age people. Yeah. It would be so amazing. That's what I would love to see. Even in the Ahsoka series, if they give her a flashback, that would be so awesome.
I think that one thing, you basically covered most of that, but one thing I specifically liked about the flashbacks with Anakin and Obi-Wan was, at first, I'm like, oh no, it ended so quickly. But I did like the subtle progression in that scene as we learned more information about the story. Obi-Wan would reflect, and we'd get another glimpse of that scene. Yeah. So it slowly revealed itself through that episode, and I think by the end of it, you can watch basically the entirety on YouTube of it all put together at once. Yeah. And it's really cool just seeing Anakin's cockiness and how kind of you see those little hints of the dark side in him where he's very aggressive. He's using the Force in his way. He's not exactly following the way of the Jedi. And Obi-Wan's trying to teach him this lesson, but it's going against Anakin's kind of natural instincts. So you see those seeds being planted early on, and maybe where Obi-Wan could have used these lessons in a better way to kind of foster Anakin's potential instead of leaving him kind of astray. Things like that are really cool. Like you said, I wish we got more of that. I can cover that more in the areas that I think are bad in a little bit later on in the video. But I feel like we can move ahead to this episode. I liked the one moment I really liked was the fight with when Darth Vader arrives on the planet. Obi-Wan's like, Reva, you're not bringing me to Vader, I'm bringing Vader to you. Vader comes to retrieve Obi-Wan. The fight that then follows between Reva and Vader was super cool, but right before that too, when the ship goes to escape and Vader's like stops it, he rips it open, he's like destroying the ship, and then he pulls it down. All that anger and frustration, what did you think of that?
That was the first time you ever see him use his power like that on the big screen. Yeah. I've seen stuff like that in fan films. Like Batman versus Darth Vader and other things like that.
Some of the games.
It's reminded me of that, and it was just cool to see that in an official Star Wars project. And I just wish, like you said earlier about the fight with Obi-Wan, I wish they kind of made their powers shine a little bit more. I mean, you got crazy things like him throwing rocks at people and him pulling down ships. There's a lot more that they could expound upon, and I hope that they do so and take advantage of that in future projects. But that one scene was really cool in particular. The scene with him in the base, I honestly could care less about all those extra people, but it was cool with the nods that there was a bunch of other Jedi that were been there, and the sketches on the wall, and like in the previous episode when they called back to like Quinlan Vos and other Jedi that were there. I thought that was really cool. But then, like you said, Vader just shows up. He comes in. He basically tries to take them down, and they escape. It was a good episode, and it got me excited. And you want to finish off what you thought of the ending with Vader versus Reva?
Yeah. So the Vader Reva fight, at first I really didn't know how to feel about it. I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. But after a second rewatch, really analyzing how Vader's like using the Force like we've never seen it before, he's like almost like Neo Matrix blocking the lightsaber, and Reva's a very athletic style of fighting in comparison to Vader's this adaptation decided to show him it kind of, like I'm saying, like a lot more Neo, very slow, precise, meaning almost like a Wing Chun version of the Force. Like he's very particular about where he's using
precise movements.
Exactly, like
barely having to move at all. He's basically just pushing her around with like
no
just
big
moving
movements,
his hands.
nothing crazy,
just the Force.
Bah, bah, bah. So that was cool. And afterwards, like the parallel, the flashback, we got a little bit more seeing Anakin stabbing her again as Vader. That was cool. So what'd you think of that?
I love the flashbacks, like especially that time. I mean, the show was like very hesitant to show you him going to slaughter younglings and stuff like that.
I don't mind.
I'm sorry. I love the children. They're all great kids. They're all great younglings. But I mean, come on. I would have loved to see him go up against so many people and spin around like that.
I don't think they really even need to show him slaughtering the younglings. I think you could put the younglings to the side.
Yeah, and just Jedi that were there.
Have him just
have a couple younglings come in and throw the lightsaber at him. And the clones were so cool. Like the first time you see actual screen used costume clones in the scenes. I just wish that scene. I wish she could have had a little bit more of a PTSD flashback because it went by so fast. It's just cool. It is cool to see.
Yeah, just those little moments are fun, but. Yeah, so then the ship escapes. One thing that was kind of interesting that I will mention because it's very important for the next episode is she finds his little communicator device. We see that she finds out about the twins, and that's on
magically, even though the thing's like barely speaking, and she magically
just enough. The twins.
She knows like right where to go and the meaning behind it. Like
we covered the Vader fight, and that's pretty much the good. One more extra thing I talked about in episode 6 for the good. It was kind of cool seeing Obi-Wan meet Luke. And he drops hello there, classic line. Everyone, I feel like, kind of smiled at that, like thumbs up. You dropped it, you said it. You did the thing, exactly. So now I think you can touch upon kind of the final kind of cherry on top of this crazy show, this crazy Sunday.
So we get to see Obi-Wan running on the space camel like donkey type thing.
His little friend,
and all of a sudden, the Force Ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn pops up. And I was like, yeah! It wasn't just his voice, it was actually him, and he was in full getup.
He looks like he hasn't aged a day, bro.
It was so cool. Like, I was like, wow, this is awesome. And it was just a couple seconds, really, like, of dialogue and interaction.
That brought a huge smile to my face.
It was so good. It was the best part for cameo-wise out of everybody in the show. But, like, Qui-Gon, bro, 1999 Phantom Menace, it's just underrated, and people push Qui-Gon off to the side. And I wish he did more, and I wish we got to see more of him. But Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn is still one of my favorite Jedi, and I think he did a great job. And I'm so happy to see him come back, and I hope that they expand upon his relationship with him in maybe a second season or maybe another project. But it's cool to see that they took the risk and they made him come into live-action form again. And it was just awesome.
They did it. So technically, I know some people online are kind of complaining. I heard that I guess it breaks continuity. I haven't looked too much into it. I'm a big Star Wars fan, but I don't know everything. So I guess supposedly, at this point in time, he didn't come into kind of the form of a Force Ghost, something to that effect. And so now that he did, it kind of breaks the canon a little bit. But I think that when you're breaking canon that isn't super important for the main series of films, like that was never mentioned in the main series of films, right? So I think that if it's something that's in the comics or whatever, and they want to break it for a truly satisfying moment, whatever, I'm not going to be mad. As long as it's satisfying.
I was happy. I thought it was sick.
And that was pretty much kind of the ending of what I thought was good about this Obi-Wan series.
This is where the fun begins.
And I don't want to just complain forever. So I'll keep my point short and sweet. Kind of the things I didn't like. We kind of can bounce back and forth about different things. I'm going to start off with the Inquisitors first. So the Inquisitors I did not like. I kind of thought they were a hit and a miss. I think that the Inquisitors could have been a cool idea, but using them in the way that they did, each one felt really boring. You got the guy from the Fast and the Furious. He's so forgettable.
They wasted my boy Han.
Basically, he's just like this guy. He just kind of goes, yeah. Like, I don't know. He's very pointless. You got that one girl that's like in like kind of some of the episodes, and she's not. She's kind of like a alien-looking character. Yeah. Whatever, forgettable. Don't remember anybody's name. Got the Grand Inquisitor. Do your quick Grand Inquisitor.
The Jedi Code is like an itch.
Okay, yeah. So we got the stupid Grand Inquisitor. He's got a dumb-looking head. Yeah. I don't like him.
I hate everything about him. He's just his hasty white
dude. He literally shows up. dies, shows up, and never appears again.
He just has the dumbest, stupidest dialogue. He's just like,
oh my, what a pointless...
Follow the people's vision. What are you doing?
What a pointless character. How do you do something so dumb?
We will find Kenobi elsewhere.
Oh my god. Okay. So, Inquisitor, trash. Each one of them, trash. Reva, pretty much...
Reva, it's Reva.
I don't care. Rev my engine.
Freaking Reva's name right.
Listen, rev the engine and drive that freaking motorcycle out of here.
I don't think she should get the hate as a person.
Bro, she's trash.
Moses Ingram. Actually,
I don't care.
I had never seen her in a performance before.
I don't care.
In that ambulance movie, I just saw her.
Listen,
like, I'm gonna get
if your character sucks, you're gonna get hate. I don't support it. I'm not gonna hate you, but the internet sucks. You made a crap ton of money. I don't care what kind of hate you get. Get off social media. I don't care what kind of hate you get. Really, delete your social media. It's not important. You don't need it. You got a crap ton of money. Go ride a yacht. I don't care. Wow. Go wipe your tears. Go wipe your tears with your $100 bills.
Honestly, I just don't think her whole character was just so annoying. Like it just didn't do it for me. They tried to wrap her up at the end and make her a hero, and like she saw herself.
Yeah. So I think the problem that I have with her character isn't even Moses Ingram. I think she kind of performed it fine.
I thought she was fine. It's just the character, the way they write her. Exactly. She could have been like a badass Inquisitor girl, but like they didn't make her that way.
You write her in a way that it almost feels like you're purposely making her annoying. You're giving her this unnatural plot armor that is just, I'm gonna get you, Obi-Wan! I don't know who was in charge of editing this woman's fight scenes, but they do her horrible injustice. A lot of
editing and stuff like that.
She literally just half the series, she's just like, Obi-Wan, she's just running all around. But you look dumb. You look so stupid. You could have made her editing so much cooler.
He's heated.
Oh, things like this just annoy me, you know? So, yeah, I don't like her. Inquisitors, yeah, a little bit.
I mean, he basically said everything, but I mean, I never cared about Inquisitors. It was like, Inquisitor who? Inquisitor what? I'm inquisitive. What is it? It's like, they come in, I just hate how almost everything you see of them in the trailer is what it is in the show. Yeah. They have no cool scenes. They just have a bunch of dumb dialogue. They chase after Obi-Wan. They conflict with one another. They all want to kill each other. They're all waiting to take the grain spot. One takes the grand spot. The other one dies. The other one comes back to life. She's like, oh, look how the turntables have turned. All those other things. I'm like, what is the problem with this? Who's writing this? Come on, Deborah Chow. What the heck are you doing?
Deborah Chow, I'm over here.
They do some things right, but the majority, like you said, there's a lot wrong.
Give me something to chow down on, Deborah Chow.
I'm a little bit more, like, appreciative, I guess. Just happy with it. But, like, the fact that they say, like, Obi-Wan and Ewan McGregor in interviews and other people, they're like, yeah, we're really developing this series as a whole. We're trying to get the good story. He's like, we're trying to get a story for this, for the series. Is Obi-Wan, and everyone wants to see me come back, and we're just waiting on the script, and it's been years and years in development. And then they give you stuff like this. It's like, I feel like a 5-year-old fanboy could have wrote a better script for all these people, and like the Star Wars theory and all these other people.
I feel like I was writing more engaging stories with my 3 3/4-inch action figures in my bedroom as a kid.
Yeah.
Anyway,
moving on. Move along.
Move along from the Inquisitors.
Those characters, the side characters, I hate all the side characters.
Every single side character in the show.
From the aliens.
Right now, don't look it up. Comment 3 of the new characters' names in the comments. I bet you can't even name 2. I couldn't name you one.
Uncle Owen.
No, new characters. Name me 3 new ones. I couldn't tell you a single one. Each one is forgettable.
Wait, what's the droid's name?
I don't even know. Lola, that's one. It's not even a character of the droid, but if you want to count it, there you go.
They always milk the droid so they could just make money and make toys with them.
Super easy. She was barely an inconvenience.
She was like a floating, like, disc.
Yeah. Lola was kind of cool. I liked Lola.
But all the other side characters, like O'Shea Jackson Jr., Ice Cube's son.
I don't even care about their names. I don't want to go on that long about them. Anyway, each one of them is forgettable. Give me some interesting new characters. Write them. Give them some intriguing story. Don't just make them so, like, I feel like they were adjusting this for Obi-Wan to be like, hey, thank you.
Give me some Stranger Things quality characters. Yeah. How they introduce characters.
Give me some Mandalorian quality characters.
Or Mandalorian.
Quill was cool.
Even
Cara Dune's cool.
Book of Boba had an annoying tentacle guy. Even he was like the equivalency of a dumb character.
Well,
but like
Black Chris Hansen doesn't even speak, and he had more personality than all these characters that they introduced. How sad is that?
Even the Jawas.
Exactly, the little Jawa dude.
People.
He should have stayed.
The sand people.
Dude, the little Jawa guy should have been there from that first episode. He should have been there.
I like that.
Anyway, other characters, forgettable. Get them out of here. I don't remember any of them.
Even little Luke, I honestly, I feel bad because I feel like he didn't. The kid didn't do a bad job, but I feel like they could have got someone that could have gave a little bit of a better performance. Same thing with Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen. I just wish they did.
I feel like young Jake Lloyd gave a better performance.
Oh, 1,000%.
Not a better performance, but he looked more like Luke Skywalker than this kid did.
This kid, I don't know where they pulled him from. I feel bad. But
I feel like that was.
I'm happy for the kid. I hope he appreciates it when he gets older and whatever. I wish nothing but the best for all the Star Wars.
If I saw him, I'd pat him on the back. I'd be like, "Good job, kid! Yippee! Yeah, yippee!" So, I think one more thing I can touch on that I really didn't like. There's a lot more things I could touch upon, but there's things like this that I feel like I really want to mention. The three things that kind of all go together as one. The writing. Many moments I thought were kind of just like, I don't know, just boring, bro. You bring back Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor. You have the opportunity to do some amazing things, and you give us so little. You give us so little to the point where I don't even feel like talking about it. I've talked about this for so long with so many friends of mine, just talking about the things I didn't like. Some people agree with me, some people disagree. I'm just giving you what it is, what I think. I'm just being honest. There's so many moments I didn't like, so many things I wish we could have gotten. We mentioned it, you mentioned it earlier. Scenes between Anakin and Obi-Wan, flashbacks. You don't need to rely upon flashbacks to tell an entire story. But when you bring back characters from 15 years ago, characters that we love, characters from our childhood that we've looked up to forever, and you give me 3 minutes of Anakin Skywalker, my personal favorite character in all of Star Wars, you give me 3 minutes of footage of him? Come on. You could have given me so much more. Moments of just them talking, building their relationship, writing some better dialogue. Again, it's a common complaint.
Even Vader in his chamber, like getting healed from after the attack with Obi-Wan, they could have showed an interaction with
me some
development, some droids or something, just like without the mask or like you said. I'm gonna, after you finish saying your points, I could basically just summarize the things that I could tell you when my friends ask me, what did you not like about the series, or what did you like? So I can move really quickly to the last two. The other one's directing. Nothing in this felt dynamic. A lot of the stops were kind of still, which I'm not really gonna fault. But the main thing I'll fault is when when Obi-Wan's using his lightsaber or any lightsaber shot, why is it that we're like this close to his face? It's a lightsaber, man. Show us some like far off shots of him fighting some dudes. Like the closest thing I think we got to that was that one fight in the dark where it's kind of farther away and we're seeing some really shots of him using his saber. But I feel like it was too far away. Everything is just so close. I feel like there's a lot of shots in the prequels, especially during their lightsaber fights, where we kind of get a wider shot. We get a perspective of the movement. We get a feel of the atmosphere. I feel like it's kind of a lame excuse, but the volume really, it feels like, this is the only reason I can come up with in my head, it makes things feel smaller. It's making these large worlds feel like attractions at a theme park. They just feel small. I say that all the time. Just the scale of the show, I understand that it's meant to kind of feel a little bit tighter, a little bit smaller, but it doesn't mean you have to make the world feel small. I think you can make things feel a little bit bigger and bring some gravitas without making it too big. Anyway, that's one, and then the final one is just the environments. A lot of the environments that the fights take place in, not only are they tight, but they're very boring. Why does everything always have to be in the dark? Why did this fight take place in super dark? I mean, the lightsabers look cool reflecting off Vader's armor. That was a creative choice that you wanted to do it in the dark so colors would reflect off of his suit. I can understand, but why does the backdrop gotta be so boring? Just like rocks? Like, dude, I feel like it makes things feel cheaper to me. It makes it feel like a fan film. Even their first fight, in the first fight they did was in the dark. How ridiculous. They had time to have their lightsabers reflect then. I don't want to talk forever. You can touch upon what you think. So, back one quick thing to the volume. I know bless you guys who have been watching this far. I mean, if you have, thank you. If you have, I'm going to put timestamps, so if you wanted to skip around, go ahead. Yeah, if you made it this far and you're listening to me talk right now, it'd be like, Grandpappy Owen over here. I don't know. Say something. I don't know. Anyway, we watched this, and I'm talking to him throughout the series, and I'm like, when I'm seeing this shot right now, I totally can tell that they're on nothing but a blanket with some pebbles, rocks, a couple crates in the volume. You could see even in the shot, it's Vader in the castle. They don't explore the castle. They don't tell you other things. They give you an outside shot and they show you one single room. Where the prequels had that blue screen, green screen background that were so expansive with like the droid attacks or Geonosis or the lava planet of Mustafar. So many different elements.
Camera was able to move.
It flowed. Yeah. It zoomed in on tight shots with their face when they were talking. It gave you good body perspectives when they were like, he was fighting Grievous. In so many lightsaber battles, they were just done. They were choreographed a little bit way better, and shot and framed better. I don't know why they don't want to go back to since they're dealing with prequel characters, bring back some of the people that made the elements of those movies great and help them expand upon these new retelling stories of events that they're brand new. Actually, they're not retelling, but they're stories that we have no idea what to expect, and they just give us stuff that's like, quite honestly, mediocre with a dash of excitement sprinkled here and there. The volume is a cool tool, and I like it, especially in the shots what they do with Mandalorian, but it's very heavily like, you can so totally tell how constricted they are with watching shows like Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, that they rely, and they need to go on and move on to other locations and actual live places
Practical.
and sets. I know that these shows have limited budgets, but man, it's Disney we're talking about. Put all the effort into making especially only a 6-episode series and make it the best it can be. I wish George Lucas had his creative opinion in these things, especially just because it's Hayden and Obi-Wan and such beloved characters. I mean, some people really trash on the prequels, but then you have the fans that grew up with them and really love them. I'm personally one of them. I wanted more little cool cameos and stuff like that. There was nothing. Like, there was no one that stood out.
Yeah.
No one. And then the random townspeople in Tatooine, Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen. I was so stupid in the points when, like, Reva's going around slicing off people, like you said, people's arms and stuff in the first episode, looking for a bounty hunter or looking for a Jedi. And she's basically playing little tag and like, I'm gonna get you, when she's going to trying to grab Luke to get revenge.
Yeah,
it's just like, it's just stupid. You can expand upon other things, and it's like, they have all these writers, all this money, all this power, all this knowledge, and they just make a show that's anything less than epic. It's just inexcusable. Honestly, if you want to debate me in the comments, go ahead. I might think of things later on, but it was good. And the Vader stuff, I feel like they didn't disappoint with Vader. And then there's scenes that just feel like it's straight out of a fan film with like Bat in the Sun or other things like that, when Vader like touches down on the rocks and cracks the cement. I thought that was cool, and I like the parallel. He had the high ground, but certain ways that's shot and the way that they chose to shoot the angles and a tiny bit of dialogue just felt a little corny. But like, I'm not bugging on that too much, just because I did enjoy it, and most of the scenes with Vader I was very happy to see, because we haven't gotten badass Vader since Rogue One, so it was very refreshing and cool to see that be expounded upon. I really can't think of much.
So there's probably a million more things I could think of and kind of rattle on about, but I just wanted to end it off. I'm going to end it off with kind of like a small paragraph just of words of me telling you my final thoughts. So I think, my opinion, Obi-Wan, the series, it didn't live up to the hype I was anticipating. Could you consider that my fault? Sure, you could. Did I overhype it? Probably. Did I expect too much? Definitely. But Obi-Wan, as a show, had moments I enjoyed. Overall, I thought it was kind of mediocre. It was average. Moments that were, like I mentioned, just there were highlights, nuggets that I really I could hold on to and enjoy. And if I put my blinders on and go in just mindless fan enjoyment, I can tell you I enjoy the show. But looking at it and just thinking about what it could have been and seeing what it actually is, it just kind of disappoints me thinking about it. So my rating of the show, it just barely is cracking a 6 for me. This episode in particular, I gave it like an 8.5. I really, really liked the fights with Vader. It was really cool. Other moments I didn't even mention, things I didn't like about the episode, but who needs to talk about that more? If you want to talk more, I'll talk more in the comments. But yeah, the show, average at best. Really, I don't think we need personally a season 2. Yes, there are things I would want to see, but I don't think I'm gonna get them. Actually, from what I've experienced with this, I don't think I'm gonna get what I want in a season 2. I just think I'm gonna get more of what I'm not interested in. So if I were to do it over again, I don't like the writer of this series. I really don't know what he was thinking. I don't know how they ended up on this script after years of searching. How do you end up on this? It's nothing special. It's nothing crazy. I don't know what took you so long. And Deborah Chow directing. She directed a great episode of Mandalorian. And from that, they gave her entire series. Yes, they kept a consistent vision throughout, which is cool, because a lot of the episodes kind of can feel very different depending on who's directing. So this had a consistent vision. But that vision was kind of boring. something like, I feel like Bryce Dallas Howard, her episodes of Mandalorian, again, doesn't matter really, I guess if you have, this proves it, one good episode. It's about a series, but I would like to see kind of her take on her own show. So I'd say after really thinking about it, I'd give her a show, let her kind of explore her directing style. Her episode of Mandalorian, or multiple episodes, were all great. I'd love to see what she could do. And yeah, fire the writing team, bring in a new director if you want to give us a season 2. And if not, just make some new stories. Give us some new stuff. Mando was excellent. I love Mando. He's a new character. Love him. Going back to old characters, legacy characters, you got Boba and Kenobi so far, I don't enjoy. So that's my... thank you for watching my TED Talk. Listening to my TED Talk.
Well, I definitely am a little less harsh on it than he is. I definitely agree with almost everything he says. So it's like, in a sense, I can sympathize with that. But if I were to tell you as a fan myself, I would recommend you go watch this show. Yeah. It's definitely a essential viewing for if you're a hardcore Star Wars fan, especially the finale. You maybe can skim through the filter the first five episodes, but they're short enough. It's enjoyable.
Short enough. It's very short most times.
It's something like, it's unexpected. It's expected but unexpected at the same time, because you've longed for it. You finally have it. I can't believe we've been talking about the show for years and the hype and the possibility of it happening. We finally have it, and it does underwhelm and undervalue what could have been in this one Star Wars universe. I like the direction that they took with bringing Leia in. I thought they were going to immediately just go with Luke. We kind of know a lot about Luke, so I would like to see more development in the future. If they choose to do a season 2, I could see a lot of story opportunities to come. They could touch upon possibly Darth Maul. They could touch upon more with him training with, learning with stuff with Qui-Gon. They could be outer world missions, just growing up with the children and other things like that. It would be cool. Not necessarily know if a Vader fight with him and Obi-Wan would make sense again,
I don't think
because how it leads up in New Hope. But I mean, maybe some type of altercation or close calls, or even just, like you said, a Vader spinoff series. That would be sick. I would love to see more with these characters in some shape or form, preferably a prequel series like live action Clone Wars, or more flashbacks. That's what I want. I just want more of the dynamic that they had to be built. And then I think that the series as a whole, I would give it a 6 is too low. A 9 and a 10 is too high. I think an 8 is a soft middle ground. I give the show around an 8. Certain episodes definitely were not 8s, but I think episode 6 could possibly get to a 9 just because of how much they put in it. For me personally, that's a little generous. I'd probably give it closer to like around an 8, but I could see someone saying, a lot of our friends were like, yo, this episode was like 10 out of 10. Where I could see elements of that. I know personally that they held back a little bit. Like when you're watching a fighter, you can say, like, they definitely held back on him a little bit. They definitely held back with what they could have did with this episode. And it could have been a little bit more wow. But I feel like overall, it was solid. I enjoyed it. I'm happy to see them both back acting again. And it's getting a really good, like, widely critically praised reviews and stuff, so people it's certified fresh and everything else under the sun. Everybody loves it, so who knows, we could see more. I would like also other directors to come in and touch if they do a season 2. I do think it's better when they have a creative team behind it and different people's inputs, as long as it's a cohesive solid story. I can't believe how fast time goes, and we get it. So yeah. I'm looking forward to see what the next Star Wars project is. I'm hoping to see more of these characters. Hopefully we might get surprises in Ahsoka. That's the next thing, I guess, look forward to.
Actually, I think the next close thing is Andor in the fall.
I don't know what they're going to do with that, but yeah.
Maybe more Vader? Who knows? All right. I think that about wraps it up.
That's a long one.
Wow. This was a long review.
But thank you for staying and chatting with us. It's what the brothers talk about. I'm Chris. This is James.
I'm James.
May the force be with you guys.
We yaddle a lot.
Listen, chat with us in the comments. If you want us, we might even make more videos talking about it if more discussions come up. Quite frequently, we run into fans that are just like, oh my gosh, you guys are so, oh my god, you have critique. We're not simps. We don't just give in to anything. Be like, oh, thank you, Kathleen Kennedy and Deborah Chow for everything you give us.
I keep it 100%. I keep it honest.
We're real. We're honest. and we appreciate everybody's opinion. So if you really enjoyed it or you really disliked it,
for you.
We're happy that
I
you
wish
feel
I
that
was
way.
you.
I definitely thought that the fights were cool with Vader and Obi-Wan. I just wish things were a little bit different.
Okay.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Yeah.
The grass is always greener. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Like it, subscribe if you're new. If you made it this whole way, thank you again. I appreciate it. You could have clicked on a million other videos, but you decided to watch this and watch it all the way through.
I don't know how you did it, but thank you.
Wow.
Holy Kenobi.
Round of applause for you. Round of applause for you. Alright. Thank you guys. See you in the next video. Peace.